This is test review 5.2 for polynomial functions. Number 1, find the GCF of the equation. And it has this long equation, so I don't actually have to factor completely. We'll do that later. But for now, I need to find the GCF. So if I know I'm doing a GCF, I know I'm going to divide something out. So what I do is, first thing, I look at all the numbers. So 35, 28, 49, and I try to figure out what number can divide into or multiply into all three of those. Well, if you think about it for a little bit, or maybe you already know, the answer would be 7. 7 goes into all of those. And if you notice, I have an x in all three. Okay, so because I have an x in all three, I'm going to take out an x. Terrible arrow. And when I take out any letter, any variable like this, I'm always going to take out the smallest exponent. So if I have 10, 6, and 5, my smallest one is 5. So that would be my GCF for x. Okay, I also have a y in everything. So I'm going to take out a y also. And I have 3, 7, and 4. Smallest one is 3. Okay, last one is z. I have a z in all three. Okay, so I'm going to take out a z also. And I have 9, 8, 11. Smallest one is 8. So my answer that I'm looking for on this question would be right here. 7x to the 5th, y cubed, z to the 8th. Because it's only asking for GCF. Alright, 2. I want to shift that function that it gives me 6 units to the right and 6 units to the left. So I want to go 6 right and 6 left. Okay? So if you remember our function rules, to go right, I want to do x minus h. To go left, I do x plus h. Okay? So for right, I'm going to subtract 6. For left, I'm going to add 6. So I'm just going to take my function, and if I do -4, I'm just going to write it all out, x minus 3. But right here, because notice I want to subtract h in the parentheses, this is where I would do 6, like minus 6. So I'm going to do minus 6. I'm just adding that to my function. And then plus 6. Because I'm not going up or down, I don't mess with the number on the end. And because I don't stretch or compress, I don't mess with the number in the front. Left and right is only in parentheses. So now all I do is do -3 minus 6. So -4 is in the front, x. So -3 minus 6 is minus 9. And that would be 6 units to the right. So that's my first one. Second one, kind of the same thing. So I have -4, x minus 3. But now I want to the left, which is plus. So I do plus 6. And then, of course, you just want to -3 plus 6. So I get -4, x plus 3 plus 6. And that would be my answer for the left. Okay? So if I say I already had these two equations and I had -3 and +3, I would figure out, am I adding or subtracting to go from the first one to the second one? Well, from -3 to +3, I would be adding, right? So if I'm adding, I am going left. If it were subtracting, I would be going right. So if I already have my two functions, you just have to know if I'm adding or subtracting in parentheses. That tells me left or right. Okay? Now 3. Same equation, but now I want to stretch and compress by a factor of 4. Okay, so if we know stretching, we multiply the number, right? So a times the function, whatever. And then compressing, well, it's still being multiplied, but if I'm compressing, it's really dividing, right? So I'm just going to do 1 over a times whatever my function is. So let me demonstrate. So for stretching, I'm going to do 4. My factor is 4, right? So 4 times, and then I'm just going to write my entire function. So negative 4 x minus 3 to the 4th plus 6. Okay? So now I have to distribute. Now be careful when you do this, because I have this inner set of parentheses right here. I can't do anything inside there. So this 4 gets distributed to the first negative 4 and to the 6 on the end. That's it. So I do 4 times negative 4, I get negative 16. Again, the parentheses cannot be changed at all. 4 times 6 is 24. So to stretch, this would be stretching. And notice they get bigger. They go from negative 4 to negative 16, and then 6 to 24. So if I get bigger, I stretch. If I get smaller, I compress. So here's smaller. I'm going to do the same thing, except now because I'm compressing, I will go ahead and do 1 over 4. And then I write the whole thing again. Whole function. And now I distribute just the same. So when I do that, again, I can't go inside the parentheses, so I just go negative 4 and 6. So I have negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, divided by 4 is negative 1. So I have negative 1 x minus 3, that didn't change. And then again, 6 times 1 is 6, divided by 4, I cannot do. So I can do 6 over 4 reduces, right? It's 3 over 2. And that would be my answer. So that's compressing. And again, all you do is look at the numbers. See how these two numbers get bigger right here? I'm stretching. You need to figure out what you multiply by. Just the same on the other one. These two numbers right here get smaller. If they get smaller, I'm compressing. Then you figure out what you divide by. So either way, I'm either getting bigger or getting smaller. I'm stretching or compressing. Okay? Next one. I want to reflect over the y and the x. Again, same function. I didn't change it. Okay? So remember, if I reflect over the y, only my x becomes negative. If I reflect over x, it's negative times the whole thing. Okay? So, let me go ahead and do the y first. So I'm going to go ahead and write my equation, but instead of x, I'm going to replace it with negative x, and then write the rest of it. And I'm done. That's it. Okay? So I replace negative x. That's it. That's all I do. And nothing else changes on that. Now for the x-axis, a little different. I want to do negative in the front. So I do negative times, and then I write my whole function, and then I have to distribute. Okay, so when I distribute again, this is just like negative 1, or like the 4 above. This negative can only distribute to the negative 4 and the positive 6. I cannot change the inside of the parentheses. So my answer, I have negative times negative 4 is positive 4. Negative times positive 6 is negative 6, and that would be it. Now, if I'm given this on a test and I already have the 2, again, I look at negative, positive, they both switch to positive, negative. If everything switches, it reflects over x. If I have a positive and a negative x and everything else is the same, it's reflecting over y. They're always opposite. Okay? Alright, last one for these. I'm going to shift 8 up and 8 down. Again, same function. So if I go up, I'm going to do plus k, down is minus k. So the k is on the very end. So really what I'm doing to go up, I'm going to write my equation, and I'm simply going to add when I'm doing the up or down to the very end. So 8 up would be plus 8. So all I do from there is I do 6 plus 8. So negative 4, x minus 3, that didn't change. 6 plus 8 is 14. That is all I'm doing. Okay, just the same on the other one. I do negative 4. That didn't change. And then plus 6. And because I'm going down, now I'm going to do minus 8. And for my answer, I just do 6 minus 8. 6 minus 8 is negative 2. Okay, and then for these, if I already have my equations, I'm only looking at the last number, because look, everything else is the same, right? Negative 4s are the same, negative 3s are the same, so I have a plus 6 and a plus 14. If that number goes up, I shifted up. If the number goes from 6 to negative 2, I went down, I shift down. So outside the parentheses is up and down, inside the parentheses is left and right. Those are the only things I can do. Alright, next thing. This nice little chart. If you write these out and then you use this on the test, this will help you with the sum and difference of cubes, and then there's several cube root ones on here on the test that you can do. So if I had 1 cubed, that'd be 1. 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. 125. 6 is 216. 7, 3, 43. 8 is 512. 9 is 729. And 1000. So on the test, I'm actually going to ask you to go backwards. I'll be giving you like cube root of 343, and if you're using this chart, whatever number you get, I would just go backwards and my answer would be 7. If I had cube root of 125, I'd go backwards, it'd be 5. That's all. That's how you'd use this. Okay? So you'll need that for, I think, 4 or 5 questions on the test, or just those. And then they'll help you on the back part when we do sum and difference of cubes. Okay, 7. Notice this problem looks very familiar. I do that on purpose. It's because it's from number 1. So since we already know our GCF, if you forgot, you can always go back and look. Especially if you're writing your work down, this will help you. Okay, so I got my GCF from number 1. Hopefully you got number 1 right. This will make this easier. So when it says factor completely, remember my GCF is going to go out front. So I'm going to have that first. Okay, now here's where I get from here, and I've had some people ask me, so I'll make sure to go as slow as I can. For the numbers, you divide. For the exponents, you subtract. So if you need to write that down somewhere, write that down. You divide the numbers in the front, you subtract the exponents up top. So I have 35 divided by 7. That is 5. And look, I have 10x's minus 5x's. That gives me 5x's. I have 3y's. Oh wow, I wrote the wrong one. It's supposed to be 3. Sorry. Good catch. If you saw that and you're like yelling at the screen, change it. Yeah, I got it. Thanks. Okay, so you gotta always be careful. Your GCF should never be higher than your lowest exponent. So I have 3y's. I take away 3y's. I have no y's, so I'm not going to write that. I have 9z's. Take away 8. I have 1 left. And see, notice I'm missing one of the letters. Every single thing on the answer should be missing at least 1 letter. That's the whole point of the GCF. All of it comes out of somewhere, so it should all be missing from something. Alright, next one. I have 28 divided by 7. That is 4. I have 6x's minus 5 gives me 1. 7y's minus 3 gives me 4. And then 8z's minus 8z's. I have no more z's. Oh, which would make me really tired if I didn't have any more sleep. Okay, last one. I have 49 divided by 7 is 7. 5x's minus 5x's. This one does not have an x. 4y's minus 3 gives me 1. And 11z's minus 8 gives me 3. So notice on all of these, I have x and z, no y, x and y, no z, y and z, no x. That's how they should be. And then again, I'm subtracting the exponents, and that would be my final answer. And that's it for that one. Okay, 60. I want to factor the polynomial. Now, these numbers look ginormous, I'm sure, but on the real test, the numbers are not that big. It's okay. They're much smaller, easier to manage. So I know I'm going to take something out. Looking at these, I'm trying to think. The easiest way to do these, really, this is how I do them. I only look at the smallest number. I cannot take a factor of a larger number that's bigger than the smallest one. So like I can't take a factor of 60 or 140 that's higher than 25 because I can't take 30 out of 25. That's not physically possible. So you should only focus on the smallest number and think of factors of the smallest number. So my first one, of course, is 25. Can 25 go into 140 and 60? Absolutely not. The only other factor I have of 25 would be 5, so that has to be the number I am taking out. There's not an x in all three, so I don't worry about that. So now, GCF goes out front, and I divide. So 5 goes into 140, not sure, but I can do this real quick, or if you have a calculator, you probably beat me to it. So that would be 28. So 28x squared. This one I do know is 5, and this one I do know is 12. Cool. Alright, I did that. Now, I do first times last to, see, I don't know that one either. I do know that it's going to be negative. So let's see, that's 16, 5, 8, 2, negative 336. Oh man. So what multiplies the negative 336 that adds to 5? Let me think for a second. Let's do 21 and 16. Okay. So let's try it out. 3, 3, 6. Check that out. Alright. So I know I'm going to have 28x and 21, 28x and 16. Oh, there's an x. Of course, my 5 is still here. And I got to figure out, I want to add to positive 5, so I would want a positive 21 minus 16. There we go. Now, can I reduce these? That would be the next step, right? I can divide these two by 7. I can divide these two by at least 4. We'll find out if I can do further. So now I have 5. 28 divided by 7 is 4. 21 is 3. 28 and 4 is 7. 16 and 4 is 4. And looks like I'm done. That was my factor completely. Now again, the numbers aren't going to be that large on the actual test. They're much smaller, easier to manage. So as long as you get the process of how to do this and remember to always reduce, you should be okay. Alright, was like 3 more? Sweet. So factor completely. Now this one's grouping. Now I've told you before you can do the first 2 together and the second 2 together, or you can do every other one. I do every other one. I'm not sure why, it just seems easier every time I've done these. So I just stick to this. You can do it either way, you get the same answer. Okay, so GCF out of the first one, I can take out 9x. I can take out on the second one, looks like not 7, 5. Okay. So GCF goes out front, 9x. That gives me 7x squared minus 3. GCF goes out front, 5. I divide, you get the same thing. Now remember, these parentheses have to be the exact same. If they're not, you've done something wrong above, which luckily is not very much work. So it should be easy to go back and fix whatever you made a mistake on. And then you keep going before you get to the final answer. So for my final answer, I take my two outside terms and I put them into one parentheses, and then I write the other one just once. And that is my final answer. So not a whole lot of work, which is good. So two more. Luckily these are almost the exact same thing. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my formula up here. And then I'll write this one right here too, just because they're almost the same. The only difference is the sign, the plus minus changes. So notice I go plus, minus, plus. If I start with plus, if I start with minus, I go minus, plus, plus. Either way, I only have one negative in the whole thing. You can only have one, you can't do two. Okay, so I need to find my a and b. How do I do that? I do my cube root of these two numbers right here. Same thing down here, cube root. I'm kind of gonna, I guess I'll do these kind of together because they're pretty much the same thing. So cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of x cubed is x. Cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 64 is 4. And then x squared is, or x cubed is x. Cube root of 1000 is 10. These would give me my a and b for each problem. Now I'm just plugging in a and b into the rest of this and I'm done. So first thing, a is 2x plus b is 3. Notice I'm not focusing on the signs because the signs don't ever change. You just got to put the numbers in the right spot. Alright, a squared. I'm squaring the whole thing. So 2x squared is 2 squared and x squared. 2 squared is 4. X squared is just x squared. Okay, AB. A times B is 2x times 3. I get, nope, sorry, 6x. Plus B squared is 3, whole thing. 3 squared is 9. And that's my answer. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Next one. Almost see the same thing. I'm just plugging in my numbers. So I have A is 4x, B is 10, A squared is the whole thing, right? So 4 squared is 16, and then x squared. A times B, 4x times 10 is 40x, and then B squared is 10 squared is 100. See? Too easy, too easy. I'll make 100. Hopefully you can do really well on this test. It was only over 3 sections, so it's not very long. You just got to make sure you follow the steps, follow the formulas, know the cubes and the cube roots, and you should be good to go.